My name is Bryan. I'm a professional Catholic speaker, retreat leader, and author. And on this channel, we talk about the truth of God, the truth of the Catholic faith, and just inspirational life and living for Christians. And in this video, we're going to be talking about my favorite inspirational Catholic books, the ones that I think are the best. Here we go. Number 1, No Turning Back by Father Donald Calloway. Everybody who knows the Bible well knows that St. Paul was a crazy man. He killed Christians. He persecuted them. He was very zealous for the faith in the wrong way until God got a hold of him, struck him really hard off his horse, and blinded him for 3 days. And it was this huge, profound conversion experience. Father Donald Calloway is a modern day St. Paul. This was a bad dude. This guy was into sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and he was one mean, cold-hearted guy, and he got kicked out of the country of Japan. I mean, nobody gets kicked out of a country, but this guy got kicked out of a country. He escaped from jail twice and had to be searched out by dogs who found him in sewers and sewage up to his neck. I mean, this man has a very sordid past. And then God got a hold of him and showed him the power of his mercy and of his love, and it changed Father Calloway's life forever. This story is the power of divine mercy and the power of God's love, and it's incredibly inspirational. Maybe you've heard his talk, but that's nothing compared to his book. I highly recommend this one. The second book that I really enjoyed a lot, and these are in no particular order, although these are two of my favorite, is Coming Clean by Jorge Valdez, who is the third most powerful man on the planet. He was the third most wanted man, and he was in the Colombian drug cartel, and he made millions of dollars for himself every month. Not for his whole cartel, for himself. It talks about his life of getting into drug selling and getting into deeper things than that, and talks about how he just wasn't happy. He had millions of dollars, every car you could ever want, all the women you want. I mean, he tried to steal people's girlfriends. He would go up to their tables and he would ask them out even though they were at dinner with their boyfriends or their fiancés or whatever, and he said most times they would go with him. He would walk into rooms with people on each side of him that had machine guns, and he said he had presidents bowing before him and playboys bowing before him and all these people because he was a powerful man, and nothing made him happy. He finally got caught in jail and they beat him so bad that he peed blood for a really long time, and that didn't stop him, and he came out and sold even more. And this is the story about how God finally got a hold of Mr. Valdez and made him a great Catholic dad who he is today. This is an inspirational story that should be made into a movie. Another book that I just loved, I think I've read it twice now, is An Exorcist Tells His Story. And this is the story of Father Gabriel Amorth, who is the chief exorcist of Rome, who has done over 30,000 deliverances, exorcisms, or working in deliverance in some way. There's different types of demonic activity, all the way from just temptation, all the way up to full demonic possession. And he dealt with everything in between because of the lack of exorcists. And in fact, it's his two books and a lot of his talks to the Pope and to bishops saying we need more exorcists because spiritual warfare is on the rise and we don't have the priests to combat it. And so Pope Benedict unleashed a whole multitude of exorcists into the world, thanks in part to Father Gabriel Amorth. And this book is incredibly interesting. It gives you all the deets on spiritual warfare, the devil, different types of possession, and everything you'd ever want to know. And it's not like the movie The Exorcist or things that would totally freak you out, because as he says, and as actually Father Gary Wright says, who's also a modern day exorcist, I highly recommend this book too. Have you seen the movie The Rite? Well, this movie is based off The Rite, except The Rite was 98% inaccurate. It was not accurate, and this book is amazing. This book is wonderful. It's so much better than the movie, and it talks about his skepticism and how he got into a big accident, and how the journal person who followed him was a huge skeptic and didn't believe in God. But when they saw the things that they saw in shadowing a real-life exorcist, oh, their hearts were turned like that. And he is now an exorcist in the United States, and this is another great inspirational read. Nice and light. It's not super heavy. He talks about how in the movies everything's sensationalized and glamorized and overdone. But these two books will give you everything you want to know on the spiritual life and the darkness that is out there. The devil, how he acts, the difference between possession, obsession, manifestations, things in your houses, how you can protect yourself against these things, and most of all, the power of Jesus Christ over all of these things. Phenomenal book. Read it. One book that inspired me a lot that I loved was Mother Angelica's book, which is over 300 pages of pure awesomeness. It's called Mother Angelica, the remarkable story of a nun, her nerve, and a network of miracles. This is the story of EWTN and how this network is now the biggest religious network in the world. Religious network, Catholic, Christian out there. It's the biggest TV, radio, total network out there in the world. And a nun built it. And against all odds, the liberal bishops of this country in the United States tried to shut her down, tried to remove her. They tried to fight against her. They even started their own station to try to destroy her. And in the end, true Catholicism, authentic Catholicism won out. EWTN is here today. It helps millions of Catholics worldwide. I've been on EWTN myself in the United States and in Ireland. I've had that great pleasure and I've enjoyed it, and I highly recommend her story and just the story of EWTN in general. Another story, it's a Catholic classic that many Catholics have read already, but it's called Rome, Sweet Home. And it's the conversion story of Dr. Scott Hahn, who was a Presbyterian anti-Catholic. He thought Catholics were going to hell. The Catholic Church was from the devil. You've heard the story. And he was one of those. And he ripped up rosaries and he broke a statue of Mary, of his grandmother's. And he just was so saddened by all the Catholics who were going to hell. He wanted to help them until he came across one question asked by a student of his who was a Protestant that he could not answer. And he tried and tried to answer it, and he couldn't, and that would be leading him to Catholicism. And in fact, all the Protestant pastors and his friends and scholars and people who were way up there in the Protestant churches tried to stop him. They sent him boxes of books on anti-Catholicism and how the Catholic Church is pagan and evil and all this stuff, and he read them all, and he said, "Can you send me more?" And then he sent them Catholic books. And not only did he convert to the Catholic Church, but so many of his friends and peers and people he knew have converted to the Catholic Church. And it shows the Catholic Church is the one true church. And it's the story of him and his wife, and it's called Rome, Sweet Home. Everybody knows that Matthew Kelly is a very inspirational writer, and many of his books are just very inspirational, including Rediscovering Catholicism, The 7 Levels of Intimacy, and Resisting Happiness, which I really enjoyed. It's a super quick, light read. Some of the chapters are like 3 or 4 pages. They're really easy, but it's a short read, and it's called A True Story About How We Sabotage Ourselves, Feel Overwhelmed, Set Aside Our Dreams, and Lack the Courage to Simply Be Ourselves, and How to Start Choosing Happiness Again. That's this book. You feel overwhelmed, stressed, anxious? You don't need to. This is the book for you. Check it out. Easy read, super light, and super short. Those are my favorite books. I have a couple follow-up runners-up, and one of them is called Eucharistic Miracles by Joan Carol Cruz, who I don't even think is a Catholic, and she actually goes and looks up all of the Eucharistic miracles, does in-depth research on them, and presents these miraculous miracles here in this book. She's a journalist, and she checked out the information and found out that these were pretty true and pretty miraculous. Lastly, Sister Bridge McKenna is a worldwide healer. She travels around healing people from blindness, sickness, making people's bones grow out, helping people who are deformed to have their faces grow in. I mean, she's an authentic worldwide healer. And her book is called Miracles Do Happen. And there's some of the interesting stories and miracles that she's done, but it's more her story of how she became a healer, how God got a hold of her, how she was super stubborn and ran away and refused to listen to God. Even when she did a miracle, she was still stubborn and she was still skeptical, and she had a hard time believing that God could work through someone like her. And isn't that all of our story? We have a hard time believing that God loves us sometimes, that he can work miracles through us. But if you need a jump start in your faith, you just want to be inspired in your faith, these are my favorite books. They're my top recommendations, and there's a bajillion of them out there. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of good ones that I haven't read out there, but I'll put these in the links below in the description section so you can check them out or go right to them if you don't want to watch this video all over again. And I would love it if you let me know your favorite inspirational books, and not just me, but anyone who's watching this video. Put your inspirational books down below. I know C.S. Lewis, Screwtape Letters, there's a lot of great books out there, but let me know what your personal favorites are. I would like to hear them, and maybe I'll even read them. So put them down below, and share this video if you think it's important. Anyone who needs inspiration, share it, like it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and you have a great day. Thanks for watching.